Hey, what's up, guys? This is Joe from Excel by Joe. In this video, what I'm going to do is show you how to find names that aren't quite matching and get them to match to pull in the data that you need. So a lot of times I'm taking a spreadsheet, say maybe a salary export, and pasting it into like say my data model and trying to pull in other information from another spreadsheet, but then the names don't always match. Sometimes there's like a junior on one name and it's not doesn't say it on the other, or there's different spelling mistakes or something. Then you can't always pull them by doing just a simple VLOOKUP. So in this video, I'm going to show you kind of a way to make a fuzzy VLOOKUP, a fuzzy match to be able to pull those in. So quickly before I get into it, just be sure to check out the links below the video. To check out my video course at spreadsheetschooldfs.com for a whole bunch of more videos, and optimizedlineups.com to see all my spreadsheet tools for daily fantasy and making simulation tools also. So let's get right into the video. So say we've got this. I've got a bunch of basketball players. I've got here a salary export from DraftKings. And so here's all the players' names. And say we want to pull in, say, a points per game from this other spreadsheet that I have. And here's all the players from this other spreadsheet. I just kind of simplified it by just taking a sample of it. And what you would normally do, say you're building a data model and you want to get all of this combined into one, you do a VLOOKUP. So you're going to do VLOOKUP, this cell in this range, comma 2, comma false. And I'm going to copy it down. And if we scroll down, look, there's a couple of errors, a couple of NAs. And it's possible that those names aren't in the sheet, so then there's nothing you could do about that. But if there's names like this, say Marvin Bagley, in this sheet it just says Marvin Bagley, but on this table it says Marvin Bagley III. Well, so obviously that's not going to work. That's not going to pull it in because it has to be an exact match. Same for Marcus Morris Sr. If we look here, it just says Marcus Morris on this side, and this says Marcus Morris Sr. So the VLOOKUP's not going to pull those in, but then if you're pulling in data, you're going to have a lot of manual work or a lot of work to try to get this to work. Here are a couple fuzzy VLOOKUPs that we can do. First, we'll do the one where there's less name in here. So this will help pull in the Marvin Bagley. And let's look at this formula. It's VLOOKUP still, but instead of looking up A2, you're going to look up quote star quote, then the and sign, then A2, then another and sign, then quote star quote. So now instead of just pulling in Nikolai Jokic, you're putting an asterisk before and after. So that means it's going to look for anything that says has Nikolai Jokic anywhere in there. And then the rest of the function is the same. Here's the table. We want the second column and false. So now when we copy this down, there. So now it pulled Marvin Bagley's name because what it did, it said, where in this table is there Marvin Bagley? Let's go down here. Oh, here's Marvin Bagley. And it's got asterisks on both sides. So even if this said, say, Mr. Marvin Bagley, it's still going to pull it because the word Marvin Bagley is somewhere in there. So it helps pull in this number. Now, what if we have it the other way? You're looking up this name, but there's less of it in here. So we kind of have to go in a reverse. So this is going to be a little different here. We're going to do the formula search. And what are we going to search for? So we're looking in here. So I'm going to do cell G2 all the way down. I'm just going to type it in, say G1000. So it's looking at everything, comma A2. And the parentheses, press enter. And now what it's doing, all of these values just appear. What it's doing, it's looking for here, Nikolai Jokic, and all these, and here it finds it. So it's pulling a 1, because what the search is going to do, search looks for the name and then tells you what position it's in. It's looking for Jokic, then it's in the first cell pretty much. So now that we have that, we want to check is number. So now it's going to give you a true or false because we want it to only want to have less options. So now all these are false, and the only place where Jokic is coming up is here, which is at the cell which is true. So we're going to get rid of all of these. This will make sense once we finish the formula. So now we know that Jokic's in this position. We just got to add on to this formula. So is number. Now we're going to use the X lookup. So you have to have the newest version of Excel. I'm not sure what that is, Excel 365 or whatever, to get the X lookup to work. If you have an older version of Excel, X lookup might not work for you. But so X lookup works very similar to VLOOKUP, but you don't have to put the number of the column that you're looking for, and it also moves from right to left. So say X lookup. What are we looking up? We're looking up the word true, because that's what we want to find. We want to find the word true. And where are we looking it up? We're looking up in here. And all of these results pretty much are corresponding to this. And now we want to do, what do we want to pull? We want to pull column H. But it's got to be the same range. So from instead of G2 to G1000, we've got H2 to H1000. And then we got to close it off. And we press enter. And there we go. So now it got rid of all of this array that was here, because that was just corresponding to this. And now that we have an X lookup, what it's doing, it's finding Jokic here, and it's pulling in the 60.9. So now when we copy this all the way down, look, there we go. We got Marcus Morris Sr., 26.28, and there it is. It's pulling it in the correct amount, which we wanted. However, we don't want to have, but now we don't want to have 3 columns of VLOOKUPs, because that would be kind of a pain. So what we can do, let's kind of nest these together with using if error. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this first one, and we're going to work backwards. I'm going to copy this, so I'm going to press Control-C. Now let's go to the first one, the basic VLOOKUP, and we're going to type in if error. It's going to look up the basic one, and then if there is an error, like in these two NAs, then it's going to do our second formula. So now when we copy this down, it should have all of them except this one, because this is still the error. But when we put this final one in there, and now we can do a double if error. So we can do if error again. If error, so if this is an error, which the only time it was an error was here, then we're going to do this last formula. Parentheses to close off the if error function. Copy this all the way down. And there we go. Now we can delete these other columns. And here we are. We've got one formula, even though it's a pretty large formula. And we're able to pull in all the names. Now, I mean, this is not going to be 100% foolproof, because you may have someone's name that maybe there's a middle initial, and it's not going to work for that. So this isn't perfect, but it will help pull in a lot of the errors, especially when a lot of the sites have a difference between putting in JR for like junior at the end and some don't. Some of the basic stuff like that, it'll bypass all those spelling inconsistencies and allow you to pull in points or whatever column that you wanted. If there are 10 columns here, you could pull in, instead of pulling in column H, you could pull in column I or J or whichever other column you wanted. So that's it for this video, really. I think that's everything. So hopefully this helps you when building your data models and being able to pull in names which I've had many, many times, and it's been kind of a pain to get around. So hopefully this is a quick way for you to do it. So if you have any questions or comments, post it below. And don't forget to check out my video course at spreadsheetsschooldfs.com and my lineup building tools at optimizelineups.com. So I guess that's it for now. Guys, have a good day. Thanks.